Drug trials are essential to the development of new interventions as a means to prevent, detect, treat, or manage various diseases or medical conditions. Monkeys, dogs, rabbits, rats, and mice have been used to test drugs for the benefit of humans for over half a century. Today, an issue arises over the drug testing on humans, particularly the prisoners. However, prisoners should not be allowed to volunteer for drug trials in exchange for lighter sentences because it has failed in the past. It is against the principle of criminal justice and the protection of prisoners' rights. Throughout the history, there are many examples of humans conducting experiments on other humans. Over the years, human experimentation has greatly advanced the knowledge of human physiology and psychology, leading to better treatments for ailments, both physical and mental, as well as a better overall understanding of human constitution. Also, it will yield a world of good. For example, if prisoners are enrolled in studies of such diseases as HIV, AIDS, hepatitis C, and tuberculosis, they could benefit from any finding or treatment discovered. Moreover, some people think that prisoners do not deserve rights, especially those who are in jail for sexual assault or rape, should not have a choice in the matter when they took the rights of the person they have assaulted. Instead, they should be used for experimentation and should be voluntary for the rest of the prisoners. Despite all the good which human experimentation has done for the human race, there have been times when scientists have taken human experimentation past the bounds of morality. Currently, 9 out of 10 experimental drugs fail in clinical studies because we cannot actually predict how they behave in people based on laboratory and animal studies. On the early 1970s, about 90% of all pharmaceutical products were tested on prison inmates. However, such research diminished in 1974 after revelation of abuse at prisons like in Holmesburg. In October 2000, inmates sued the University of Pennsylvania, Dr. Kligman, Dow Chemical, and Johnson & Johnson for injuries they said occurred during the said experiment. But the case was dismissed because the statute of limitation had expired. Just like Mr. Edward Anthony, a former inmate who took part in the Holmesburg experiment in 1964. When they put the chemicals on me, my hands swelled up like 8-ounce boxing gloves, and they've never gone back to normal. We're still pushing the lawsuit because the medical bills are still coming in for a lot of us. Further, the purpose of a prisoner's sentence is to give justice to the victim and for the benefit of the offender as well. The theory of criminal justice system has deep connection to other areas of philosophy such as political philosophy and ethics. The theory of rehabilitation aims to reform the offender's behavior. Another is the theory of reparation, which serves as a repayment to victims or to the community. As stated in the law, sentence must be proportionate to the crime committed by the person, and volunteering for drug trials for lighter sentences will defeat the purpose of the criminal justice system. Prisoners should not be excluded in the basic human rights, regardless of what sentence they got. In the case of medical treatment, they should have the basic right of informed consent. One fact is that prisoners' rights are most likely to be ignored because of the stereotype mindset that criminals do not deserve rights. Not giving them basic rights is part of the punishment they should get. Such mindset is fundamentally wrong. Prisoners are the most vulnerable group of people that least likely to get legal assistance, which is unfair and unconstitutional. Further, subjecting the prisoners for experiment is inhumane even if they have volunteered for it. What happens to the failed experiment in which the prisoners are used and failed? What if some prisoners were wrongly accused and in their instinct that they just wanted to lessen the load of the sentence. Overall, to reiterate, prisoners should not be allowed to volunteer for drug trials in exchange of lighter sentences because it has failed in the past. It is against the principle of criminal justice and the prisoner's right. Basically, the proposition cited today treat the prisoners as a group of people who does not deserve any consideration as a human being. They deny any of their rights and believe that they deserve nothing but to die and be treated like millions of dogs, rabbits, rats, monkeys who died from medical experiments each year. In this case, there is no distinction between prisoners and mere lifeless objects. Just because an inmate committed a mistake in the past, it does not mean that we should make them as subjects for experiments for our benefit. Prisons are places where people given opportunities to reform. That should be our aim as a society. We need to put ourselves on the shoes of these prisoners. We should never think that we can never be prisoners. We are humans and we can find ourselves in situations such as anger, which drive us to prison.